Probably the most difficult type of shift is the one we do in silence, during a rest, maybe before starting a piece at the very beginning, having to find a high note. In order to get good at these type of shifts, we need several things, but the most important, above all, we need to have a good relative pitch. If we do not have good relative pitch, there is no point in practicing thousands of repetitions of shifting between positions. We need to have good relative pitch in combination with having a solid hand frame in different positions, and also having practiced single finger shifts, substitution shifts, all those other types, even double stop practice, because those help you get more reference points when it's time to find those high notes out of nothing. Hey, this is Ina Langerman from Violin Live, helping you along your musical journey. In this video, we're going to look at just 2 examples from the standard repertoire that involve shifting during silence, specifically during a rest, or maybe even a couple measures of rest while somebody else is playing. So for each example, I'm going to share with you how I like to practice it. There are many approaches, and just a quick disclaimer. Just like in any video that I make, if anything is completely opposite of what you are doing in your private lessons, please consult with your teacher. Remember that these videos are not a substitute for any private lessons, okay? These videos are just me sharing what has helped me along my journey, and hopefully they can be helpful to you too. So the first example is in the beginning of Don Juan violin excerpt that's asked on multiple auditions. And we have a shift on the E string during a rest into a high E near the beginning. So here on the E string, we have to get to that E during a rest. So a few ways to hit this E. Number 1, it is a harmonic note. So you can use that as a reference. Even though it is a harmonic, I do play it pressed down all the way as it's meant to be. The fact that it's a harmonic does help you hear the ring better because the E string will create the sympathetic vibrations with it, even if it's played as a normal note. When it comes to shifting in this manner, when you have just 1/4 note rest, and especially in an example like this, where both notes are on the same string, the note before the shift, B, and then you have the E, which is same string, and it's a perfect 4th above. So number 1, I know that it's a perfect 4th. I know what perfect 4ths sound like. Da-dum. So I can hear that E ahead of time. And besides, in this example, I had a half note E shortly before this. One very important way to practice it, to start with, is first to actually take out the rest and practice it like a normal shift. So we're going from 2nd finger to 1st finger. Now, the truth is that on the way up, in real time, it will be a substitution type of shift. It's just that I'm going to be doing it in silence. I'm not going to be using the bow to listen for it. But first we have to use the bow to listen for it during practice. So I substitute with the 1st finger and finish sliding up with the 1st finger. That's how I like to do it. That's how I like to reach it. So I'm going to put it together slowly from the triplet before. I try to practice that shift on the same bow. The B is up bow. I'll do the... And when I reach it, I play the down bow. Now let's go a little faster, still keeping the bow on the string. So that's the path my hand is going to take. With each repetition like this, actively listen for that E. So what we're doing is creating a mind-body connection between how the hand feels, where actually also in this example, where the thumb is located on the high E. I know that my thumb likes to be very comfortable right here, like this, for this note, and how the bout of the instrument by this time I'm making contact here, because now we are technically in 7th position. As you can see on this last example, I lightened my bow up, and that's how we're going to eventually do that shift in silence, because it requires a certain level of trust. And it's not just a certain level of trust, it's also the timing of the shift. The timing is crucial. So when we were practicing the slide audibly, we gave the shift a certain rhythmic value. It's going to be a little different for every player, but you have to kind of determine what the rhythmic value of the shift is for you in order for you to be consistent with having the E ready in time when you put back together. And I talked a little bit about the timing in my previous video on shifting, which I'll link right up here and in the description below, so you can go check that out later. The second example I'm going to take from Prokofiev's Second Sonata for violin and piano. It's also the same sonata that was originally for flute, and David Oistrakh arranged it for violin. So we're actually going to skip to the very, very end of the first movement. There is one of those examples where we have a few measures of no playing while the piano continues, and we have to prepare a high F. And in this case, the high F has to be either with the first or second finger, and I do it with the second finger. And right before the shift, we have this nice arpeggio, D major arpeggio, and of course Prokofiev, being Prokofiev, throws in this C sharp, right? Because he likes to do things like that. So now I have to find F, because I know F is a minor third away from the note that I finished on, and just a couple octaves higher. So I know I was in 3rd position just now. I was pretty much reaching down to that F sharp in 2nd position in the arpeggio. So I know that this is 3rd position because my hand feels comfortable there. So how to find the F? Pretty simple. I can use the harmonic E, actually the same E we used in Don Juan. Didn't see that connection until now. I'm going to use my first finger to get to that E, and I'm going to put the F natural right next to it, and I'm going to hear F. And then I have another shift that I have to do in silence. It's a harmonic on a perfect 5th. Those are hard. What I like to do for this one, I put the 3rd finger on the note D, and I cheat a little bit here. I pull the string a tiny bit to hear the D, note D. I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but I can hear it up close. So we don't do this kind of thing. It's silly, don't do that. I just go like this a little bit, pull the string a little bit. Then you can put the 4th finger on the note E, which is the harmonic note, and then reach down to the note A, and now release the pressure here to finish the piece. So if we go back and put this together, even though I pre-heard all those notes in my mind, I also had a strategy what to do with the left hand. So by putting those together, it creates this mind-body connection. So we had the arpeggio. Then I'm in 3rd position. I do an exchange with the 1st finger. And I hear F. And when I hear it, I make sure my left hand is nice and light. So I already gave you 2 tips on practicing things like this. One is to always pre-hear the note that you are aiming for. And the second tip is that when you have the shift in silence, is to take the silence out and practice the slide as you would normally. So just one more tip in addition to that, and that is to always keep contact with the fingerboard. Always keep contact with the neck of the violin, even during silence. Do not get your hand off like this and then try to jump somewhere. Chances are you're gonna miss it that way. Of course, you can always play this game where you take away your hand and you sing the note F and you try to hit it. So it's a little sloppy. You can see how many times you can do that. You can do that also, but in reality, don't perform it that way. At least don't plan to. F. As you can see, both of those times I was a little sharp. So, I recommend as much as possible, keep contact with the fingerboard while you're getting to that next note. Use your previous note or a note that you're comfortable with on the violin to help guide you to the next one. Now, of course, there is a ton of music out there. I just gave you 2 little examples. So put down in the comment section below some shifts that you find very difficult in the violin standard repertoire. There are so many, and there's just not enough time to do everything in one video. So let me know what you're working on. This is the last video of 2021. For those of you who are watching this in real time on the day that it is being published, Happy New Year's Eve or Happy New Year. For those of you who are watching this after midnight, happy practicing. I will see you next time. Enjoy your holiday.